Okay, so for swaps, I think something that I need to clarify before I explain this is that for swaps, we are not going to do properly an exercise. Again, remember this class is will only give you an introduction to derivatives, so we are not going to go that deep into derivatives, and I will only give you an introduction about what is a swap. So we are not going to do an exercise, but it's important that you understand the concept. It's similar to the pass-through, and that I didn't give you the video about the concept of pass-through, and I had to give it to you during the exam, but it's the same. It's like a swap. We are not going to do an exercise about swaps, but you need to understand the concept because I can ask you a conceptual question about swaps. Actually, the homework is about swaps. So let me explain you here in the presentation what is a swap. I think I can't remember if I told you this in a previous presentation, but if not, I'm going to repeat the story really quick, and then I will give you two examples, and I think it will be, and I think you will understand. So a swap is basically an exchange of something. It's a swap means an exchange. So a swap is like a trueque, as we used to call it. Well, not you, not us, but the Aztecs used to call it a trueque, an exchange of something, right? It can be I don't know, a cow for a chicken or a cow for 10 chickens, something like that. That is a swap. So what is a swap in the financial markets? Uh, some interesting things. Swaps are the most common derivative used in the world. I think that the data says that around 65% of all the derivatives in the world are swaps. So even it, more than half of all the derivatives in the world are swaps. Why are they so popular? Because it's very easy to do a swap. It's like you just find someone who has something that you need and then you just trade it. I will give you some examples of how this works and you will understand how easy it is to make a swap. So imagine that we have a company that is Mexican, right? This is a Mexican company. And this company sells I will say shoes, right? This company sells shoes, they produce and sell shoes, and they sell shoes to the US. So they sell, I don't know how many shoes, but they receive an account receivable. It's like a paper saying that they will receive in the future $1 million. They don't receive the cash because when you sell something, you usually give some time for the client to pay. So let's assume that this account receivable is in Spanish cuenta por cobrar. Sorry, it's not in pesos. This should be in dollars, right? It should be $1 million. $1 million. So the Mexican company has an account receivable, cuenta por cobrar, of $1 million. They don't have the cash, they don't have the dollars, they only have the paper. And imagine that there is another firm in the US, maybe they sell TVs or I don't know, they sell other things. Maybe they sell cell phones, right? And they sold cell phones to Mexico, and the Mexican client also gave them an account receivable, but their account receivable is in pesos. So it says 20 million pesos, right? And this 20 million, and this is pesos, right? So the Mexican company is sad because they have an account receivable in dollars. They don't have the dollars. The Mexican company doesn't have dollars or pesos or anything. They only have a piece of paper. And the American company is also sad because they don't have dollars or pesos or anything. They only have a piece of paper. And they are worried because maybe in the future, the prices between dollars and pesos can change. And if that happens, they can lose money. Imagine that the price of the dollar goes to 10 pesos per dollar. I know it sounds weird, but maybe it can happen. So instead of receiving 20 million pesos, they will receive only 10 million pesos. That's quite scary, right? So what they can do is that these two companies can exchange these account receivables. They can say, are you happy if I give you 20 million pesos and you give me $1 million right now? Can we exchange this? If they agree, they can just change the papers, and then the Mexican company will be happy because no matter what happens, they will receive 20 million pesos, right? And the American company will be happy because they will receive $1 million. So they can forget about the risk, and that is something pretty cool for them. So this is a basic example of a swap. It's very common. This is a very common swap, and it happens around the world. Sometimes between subsidiaries of the same company, sometimes between partners, sometimes between random companies, even between people. It is very popular, this type of swap. Just as a quick second example, imagine that instead of having these things, maybe the Mexican company has access to credit in pesos, right? Like maybe they can access to a credit, to a loan, who pays 2% of interest rate, right? I am just making up numbers in pesos, right? This is important because this company is in Mexico. And the American company can have access to to a loan in dollars because they are in the US. So they can get a loan in dollars at, let's assume, 1%. So imagine that the Mexican company wants to get a loan in dollars and that the American company wants to get a loan in pesos because maybe they will start operations or something. So what they can do to simplify things is that they can exchange these two things, right? The Mexican company can say, I can get the loan and I will give you the money in pesos, and you give me the money in dollars. You get the loan in dollars and you give me the money, and we pay the interest rate. But because mine is more expensive, mine is 2%, I will pay you 1% in the premium. That's something that you calculate just to make it fair, right? So swaps are as simple as that. Of course, this is oversimplifying things, right? Because there are a lot of calculations in here, legal fees, operational fees, a lot of things that if you want to become a swap manager, you need to know a lot of math behind these calculations, a lot of things. That's why people in finance are good in math, because they need to calculate a lot of things. This is oversimplifying things, but maybe maybe some of you maybe know a little bit or a lot about swaps, but some other of you maybe you don't know anything. And if this is the first time that you hear about swaps, it is a very interesting instrument that you can try, maybe if you have your own company or if you work in something related to business. It's something that maybe you should think about. So I think with this, we are done with today's class. Uh, I will only make one more video explaining the homework. It's pretty simple, but I will make a video. It's actually quite funny, the homework. And then I think that will be all for today. The only thing that you have to do this week is to complete homework 7. I think it's homework 7. I will check in the next video. And the deadline to deliver that homework is in the next week. I think it's the 10th of November. Uh, you don't have to submit anything today on the 3rd of November, but on the 10th, submit the homework. Also, if you have a question about the grades, let me know. You can come to Zoom, send me an email, or whatever it's better for you. So that's everything. I will make just one last video with the homework.